This video is about SystemVerilog built-in data types, packed and unpacked arrays. Here we look at packed array. Consider bus underline W. Bus underline W is a 32-bit vector. We divided it into two chunks, and each chunk has 16 bits. It is illustrated in this figure. So chunk 0 is 16 bit and chunk 1 is 60 bit, but actually it is 32 bits. In this line we select chunk 1. So chunk 1 from bit 16 to 31 is copied to data 16. And in this example we select chunk 0 bit 15. So somewhere here, and we copy it to signal A. Let's look at unpacked array. The general syntax for unpacked array is data type followed by vector size, name, and dimensions or number of elements. For example, here memory has 4 elements and each element is a 32-bit vector. Or in this example, data 2D has 4 rows and 2 columns, and each element has 60 bits wide. Also, we can use another style and define data 2D. This line is equivalent to the above example. And here data has 4 elements and each element is 1 bit. Okay, now let's look at how we can assign unpacked array. For example, we select element 2 of memory, which is 32-bit, and copy it to data 32. Or we select rows number 2 and column number 1 of data 2D and copy it to data 8. SystemVerilog supports list assignment. List assignment is used to initialize the arrays. Consider this example. In this line, the memory get the following vector. This 32-bit value goes to element 0, element 1, and so on. Or in this example, data 0 goes to element 0, data 1 to element 1, and so on. Let's look at two-dimensional list assignment. Here we define data 2D, which has 4 rows and 2 columns, and each has 16 bits. We can use this syntax to assign value to data 2. So each inner loop goes to one row. So this goes to row 0, row 1, and so on. And row 0, column 0 gets the first value, column 1 gets the second value. Also, it shows in this example. So row 1, column 0 gets this value, row 1, column 1 get this value, and so on. Also, it's possible to initialize all elements of the unpacked array to 0. For this, we can use the default. Here, it sets all elements of the memory to 0. Here is another example. In this example, memory has 4 elements, element 0, 2, 3. And it has, each element has 24 bits, which we divided it in 3 chunks, and each chunk has 8 bits. So chunk 0, chunk 1, and chunk 2. And each chunk has 8 bits. In this example, the element 0 gets this value. So this value goes to element 1. Also, in this example, element 0 here, chunk 1 here, bit 3 to 0, which is this bit, goes to element 3, chunk 2, element bit 7 down to 4. So this. So actually it copy this value to here. Unpacked array versus packed array. If the size is before the name of the array, it's a packed array, and if the size is after the array, it defined unpacked array. We can visualize packed array and unpacked array in this example. So here data is a packed array and it has 8 elements. But in the next example, data has 8 elements, it's unpacked, and each element is 1 bit. For example, element 3 is here. The way unpacked arrays are implemented in hardware depends on the synthesis tool. The tool may not make a distinction between packed and unpacked arrays.